It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledging knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
You heard it from the man they call Biz, ladies and gentlemen. It's Topic Thunder live and broadcasting to Twitch and Facebook and YouTube and all the good ones. And if you've been here before, you know that the intro there. But if you're brand new and you're just kind of flipping through and just saw us pop up, like, hi, we're Topic Thunder. I'm Brooks. That's Ben, and we have a very interactive podcast. We call it an internet saloon, to be honest with you, because we kind of mix a little fun and a little alcohol sometimes, and it's sometimes serious, sometimes frivolous, sometimes scientific and interesting discussions. So we welcome you all aboard to the USS Rapapa, and Topic Thunder is underway, ladies and gentlemen. Ben,
you won't be able to find the show on my Facebook page tonight because I am enduring a 24-hour Facebook ban.
What'd you do now?
I said that all landlords should have their heads cut off.
That'll do it.
Facebook didn't like that.
I could imagine that somehow people could view that as a possible threat, take it the wrong way, sure.
But I stand by it. So.
And you know what? We're going to talk about people, the concept of free speech here. I'm glad you brought that up, Ben, and what it means to have free speech in the internet, and also what it means to buy your way, apparently, into some free speech. And the story a little bit later on in the show. We usually start the show with a drink, and I don't have a drink, so we're just I completely there's a miscommunication between production back here. So all I can offer you right now is a lime sparkling water to get
I've got a key lime sparkling water.
Okay, we already have a theme, so look at that.
Sparkling water party. Man.
So we always open the show with an opening of something a little crisp, and it's lime flavored sparkling water. And cheers to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Topic Thunder. I've just been handed a note here. I've just been handed an urgent message. Here's an actual alcoholic beverage.
Our resident bartender Gigi coming through the last minute.
Deep from her mixology lab, Gigi emerged with an annoyed look on her face because I was talking about something on the air I should have probably done before. But that's just what happens. But we're gonna figure out what this one is. Here we go. So that's the other. If you're just joining us and just playing on, we kind of guess what Gigi cooked up here in her lab.
Yeah, and then we get it, and then we get a Brooks Bolts rating of 1 through 5. Brooks
patented.
Keep it simple this time. This can't be a sober show, Ryan Hansen says. Well,
that's one thing.
I mean, I'm not drinking alcohol, but
we tend to enjoy ourselves here. It's part of the essence and the culture of the show. That doesn't sound good.
I am ever the problem child.
I did you use the Casamigas? So we've grown now to like to play a little game. We try to find celebrity liquor.
Okay.
So we did Cabo Wabo.
Okay.
At the last trip to Benny's. So this time we did Casamigas. Cabo Wabo, obviously, the Red Rocker, Sammy Hagar. Casamigas is George Clooney's tequila. So we're going to continue this trend of
these have different alcohols.
So what's his nuts? Ryan.
Next is the Dan Aykroyd vodka. Interesting.
Crystal Skull.
Oh, it's not Ghostbusters themed. That's disappointing.
Oh, Oh no, Crystal Skull is have you never Crystal Skull, the bottle itself is worth like just buying one and
Really?
just putting it. Oh yeah, please at home, please.
Google it.
Look up the bottle for Crystal Skull, and it's just a nice little thing to have. And alone, it's a pretty nice vodka, very smooth. I've had it before, but absolutely Ryan Reynolds gin, Aviator. That one's there too. So yeah, we're doing
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Hold on.
That'll look nice on a bar shelf, right?
All right, check this out. This is actually pretty cool. That is pretty dope.
Yeah. The packaging's good, right?
Look, it would be worth it.
The vodka's good too. I think that the small bottle runs you about $40, which is in line with kind of like a mid-range quality vodka.
Ryan has a gin. I know Jay-Z has a alcohol too.
So I think that's what
Conor McGregor has a whiskey. Yeah, I'll have to try.
Look, so we have a summer we have a summer project to go over this celebrity liquor. So yeah, that's the thing. So I again back to Gigi. Was this the Casamigos? A little bit of lime juice and the grapefruit bitters. That's my guess. But yeah, that's what we do here. We break this stuff down. We also break down news. Costco vodka. Oh, it speaks to my heart.
Lime juice.
Yes. I got the lime juice right. Costco vodka.
That's awesome. And guava LaCroix.
All right, so there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The components of the drink tonight. You can drink at home. Well, we talk about headlines.
I got ahead of myself. Brooks Bolts. How many Brooks Bolts?
Oh, this one. This is a solid 4.
4 Brooks.
4 Brooks Bolts. Brings you to the headlines, and holy smokes, folks, we always have a ton of things to talk about here, and we're gonna kick it off with a little interesting news about solar panels. We'll get to some other good stuff later on, but as my internet decides to take a crap right now and I start to drag this out, maybe Ben can put it up on the screen. They've put a lot of thought and effort into making solar panels and the technology itself, right? More efficable, the ratio of energy to energy, the conversion rate, I guess, the technology to collect these things. So one big complaint about the whole solar energy thing is, boy, not doing anything when the sun's down.
Oh God, that is like seriously the most ignorant response. Just like, come on, like you don't think that they've thought of this? Like people that are way smarter than either of us, they've not thought of let's figure out a way eventually to figure out how to charge solar panels at night. Yeah, of course they were going to figure this out.
Well, they sure have, and it took a team of engineers at Stanford University to develop a solar cell that can generate some electricity at night. The research comes at a moment when the number of solar jobs and residential installations are rising. While standard solar panels can provide electricity during the day, this device can serve as a, quote, continuous renewable power source for both day and nighttime, according to the study published in this week's Journal of Applied Physics Letters, which I'm sure will be arriving in everybody's mailbox shortly. The device incorporates a thermoelectric generator, which can pull electricity from the small difference in temperature between the ambient air and the solar cell itself. Let me repeat that.
Right. Because it's hard to, that's a lot of big words and science
right.
going on there.
Because there's a difference in temperature, they developed a generator to suck the energy out of that difference in temperature.
Science, motherfuckers.
Right. So, yeah, solid middle finger to everybody who says, well, we're going to do it about it nighttime. What are you going to do? Get your energy from the moon? No, motherfucker. The difference in temperatures. Suck on that.
Right? Right. And I mean, they're developing roads that are going to charge electric cars while they're driving on them. Like they are developing amazing technology. And this is with very little funding. And I've said this for a while. If you took the subsidies that are given to the oil and gas companies right now, and you took that money and you applied it to renewable energy and energy research and development, we would make an incredible leap because that's what Americans do, right? When we apply ourselves and we put money towards something like NASA, which we talked about a few weeks ago, and how it was a kind of a community project where we all said, cost be damned, profit be damned. We want to accomplish this goal, right? The same could be said here. If we wanted to accomplish the goal of reducing our obsession with and reliance upon fossil fuels, and went in a different. Now you're never going to eliminate. That's always the other thing. It's not an all or nothing thing here, right? We can reduce greatly the amount of dependence on fossil fuels and still have them for the things that are still going to be necessary for them. It's just less of it. We won't have to pump as much. We won't have to pump, take as much out of the ground. There's so many advantages of going in this type of direction with things. If we just could all get on the same page and say, this is worth it. This is worth it for all of us to be able to go this direction. But the energy companies, of course, they're like, fuck this. No. And we're going to do everything we can. We're going to lobby against it. We're going to use all the money that you've paid us all over these years without any competition, of course. And we're going to now use that money to buy lobbyists to make sure that that alternative, energy sources and fuel sources will never get the funding that fossil fuels will and does.
What you said is 100% spot on, right? Like if you just put even a fraction, even half of the oil subsidies from a dirty energy, which we know, like it's limiting, and you want to look at it from a bigger perspective than just like our planet. It's combustion engines and the use of fossil fuels is a very limiting fuel source. If perhaps you wanted to travel outside of the solar system, hell, even outside of the inner solar system, right?
Yeah.
It's very limiting to what we are able to accomplish and understand about the area around us in space, which we've continually on the show point out to be, just a minorly important thing to know more about our cosmic backyard.
Right. It might be worth it. I don't know. Maybe.
Just maybe. Yeah. Just maybe. Oh, by the way, so I often reference my nerdiness in the Star Trek lore, right? Just for reference, in Star Trek lore, the first warp drive went online in 2063.
Whoa. Okay. Oh, in the lore. Okay, I gotcha.
I mean, I can't promise you anything. Although, what I can tell you in the Star Trek lore, this event of the first hyperdrive going online, which the Vulcans saw in their studies of our solar system, basically waiting for us to do this. That's how the Vulcans came down and said, oh, okay, you did this. You're ready. There's a bigger thing. Hey, welcome to the Federation of Planets. Okay, Star Trek, right? 2063. This was after World War IV had occurred. And the human race basically wiped itself out almost twice. So the rosy peachy glasses of which I use sometimes to reference the Star Trek universe came with 2 Thanos snaps.
Yeah, one other point, but I don't want to sit on this too long. But another point to bring up on this same subject is, if you also invested in other ways to get away from a dependence on fossil fuels, what it would also lead you to is creation of more public transportation, right? And it's coming from a guy who makes his living by selling cars and automobiles and trucks to people. It's counterproductive, right, to my own interests to say that we should probably have more public transportation. And the gas prices being where they are is a great example. I mean, we shouldn't need jet fuel if you could take a high-speed train and get to every major city but coast to coast. That's possible. High-speed rails. I mean, there are Asian countries that are doing it. Japan, I believe, China. Japan, I know for sure, has high-speed rails that they've been doing for a long time. And that's another interesting thing to think about when you think about getting away from fossil fuels and renewable energy, because that is a huge thing that I think is not being paid enough attention to, that we probably should, is that there is not nearly enough public transportation. We have painted ourselves in a corner as a human race at this point, that if you don't have an automobile, you're fairly fucked. You cannot be a productive member of society if you don't live in a major metropolitan area. And guess what happens when you live in a major metropolitan area? The costs of living are obnoxious. So not many people can afford to live close to their job if they work in the city. They need to commute in. Well, it's really hard to do if you don't have good public transportation.
I'm gonna share my screen here.
Ooh,
and
barely do this. This is a treat.
This is new, right? Does this work? Can you see this map of the high speed?
I don't see anything yet, but that doesn't mean people aren't.
I see. Hold on. There you go.
Oh wait, hold on. You're sharing your screen now. I have the option to bring up, and here we go. Yes.
So this is the map of the Chinese high-speed rail lines. Mm-hmm. They've got them going everywhere throughout their entire country. We don't have that. Nope. They spent a lot of money doing that stuff. And how do I stop sharing? I click the button that says stop sharing.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. Yeah, I think that's why not? Why don't we have something like that? And how convenient would it be if you could hop on a train and get, from Chicago to fucking Dallas in a matter of 4 hours, right?
Right, and cheap too.
Yeah,
cheap because the high-speed rails are run on magnets. So while it needs electricity, we've clearly shown that electricity can be generated organically, renewably, without the use of fossil.
Points out we have a fifth of their population, so they're doing it with far more people.
I mean, they have a different structure of their government there, where it becomes a little more easy to say if the big guys up top say they want something done, then of course thousands and thousands of people die, but that it gets done right in a matter of real quick time.
At what cost? But it gets done.
That's just the way you do it in an autocratic society. Which, by the way, we're teetering on the brink of, aren't we?
Segue of all segues.
Because if you haven't been paying attention, we had a little bit of problem January 6th, 2021, when some boys and some fellas and some folk wanted to pay a special visit to the Capitol, right? So in the investigation, not by our Justice Department, but by the special committee, it's revealed quite a few things. They used the power of subpoenas to garner a whole bunch of information. And actually, if you recall, won a Supreme Court case about the release of certain presidential records, which again, we note there was one dissenting vote in that. Clarence Thomas, married to Ginny Thomas, who was probably in this string of text messages sent from Donald Jr. the day of. In the text, which has not been previously reported. And by the way, this is from CNN. It's just because it's easier and synopsis-wise, easier to read. It's everywhere. It's not just a liberal George Soros dream. In the text, which has not been previously reported, Donald Trump Jr. lays out ideas for keeping his father in power by subverting the Electoral College process, according to the message reviewed by CNN. The text is among records obtained by the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th, 2021 special tour. Quote, this is from Don Jr. Mm-hmm. It's very simple. He sent this text to Mark Meadows, chief of staff, on that fateful day. He sent this on November 5, adding, and later in the text missive, we have multiple paths. We control them all. Now, of course, you may say, they could be talking about anything, right? In a statement to CNN, Trump Jr.'s lawyer, Alan S. Fuertefas, said, after the
Donald Trump Jr. texting strategies to subvert
videos run independently of themselves in 2022, according to my plan.
In a statement to CNN, Trump's lawyer says after the election, Don received numerous messages from supporters and others. Given the date, this message likely originated from someone else and was forwarded.
Oh, shut up. Shut up.
However, Immediately before his text to Meadows describing multiple paths for challenging the election, Don Jr. texted Meadows the following. This is what we need to do. Please read it and please get it to everyone that needs to see it because I'm not sure we're doing it.
But it might be forwarded from someone else. Might be.
The November 5 message outlines the strategy that is nearly identical to what allies of the former president attempted to carry out in the months that followed. Trump Jr. makes specific reference to filing lawsuits and advocating recounts to prevent certain swing states from certifying their results, as well as having a handful of Republican houses put forward slates of fake Trump electors. If all of that failed, according to the Trump Jr. text, GOP lawmakers in Congress could simply vote to reinstall Trump as president on January 6th.
Is any of this accurate? Like this could be done? Is he right at all on any of this?
No. No, and it would have accounted to an actual coup and a subversion of the electoral process, which again, it's incredibly scary how close they got to do this. It literally came down.
Wanted to, right? It was all down to, and I wonder like what actually stopped it.
Mike Pence, of all people.
Really?
Yeah. Look, one of two things was going to happen for this to work. He was either going to sign off on it or he was become incapacitated. So the power of the vice president moves on down the chain.
And by incapacitated, let's not just like skip over that. Incapacitated was hung on the steps of Congress.
There's a reason, and it's widely reported and admitted by his own staff, that Mike Pence's chief of staff did not want them hiding in his office.
I bet not.
He hid in the parking garages underground. Now, why? If you were the Republican right-hand man to the president, the vice president of the United States, why would your chief of staff, who's in charge of your everything, your immediate and outer circles, say, you know what? It's probably not a good idea to go to your office, which you would think would be one of the most secure areas in all of the federal government. Probably because of a special tour that happened before the special tour on January 6th, right? Because we know that there were a lot of these Proud Boys and infiltrators, I'll just call them that, infidels, if you will.
Infidels, yes.
Were given special, they were on the premises the days before the special tour and got a layout. Maps were given. We talked about it shortly after. Remember how there were already reports that the maps were given out, special maps of like the actual layouts of tunnels and shit.
Yes.
This is another message from Don Jr. We have operational control, total leverage, moral high ground. POTUS must start second term now. Now, if that's not the message for somebody that sniffed a whole lot of cocaine allegedly, I don't know what is, because there's no punctuation, there's random capitalizations, and I would assume that like CNN's given us the actual text here. Just moral ground, POTUS must start second term now. This coke-fueled rage.
Just cocaine fueled, like an old Hulk Hogan promo. Just cocaine fueled.
All of them, right?
Yeah.
Although that's what made wrestling in the 80s fun. Cocaine. Baseball too. Yeah. Oh, we bad segue, but segue. There was a documentary, and I don't know if it was a 30 for 30. Gigi would know. Strawberry and Gooden.
Once Upon a Time in Queens. It is fucking awesome.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Amazing. It is Lenny Dykstra. I would listen to Lenny Dykstra tell stories all day long. All day long. That guy
that was some good stuff right there, and it took me back a little bit. And like, you didn't know what that was as a kid when you were watching that, but now like realizing that whole team, Keith Hernandez comes off like a guy like Bender had done that now, but like would look back with pride, like Caligula, like he could swap stories with Caligula, like Keith Hernandez. keeper of all secrets because everything in that team ran through Keith
He's
Hernandez.
so weird in that documentary too, because he's like petting his cat and like playing with his cat while he's doing the interviews for this documentary.
He's like,
If you've seen like any documentary, it's like that. It's the sit down, right? And like normally someone's just sitting in the chair and they're sitting in the chair, but like for some weird reason, Keith Hernandez is like playing with his cat the entire time.
if you're a fan of the old James Bond movies, he's Blofeld just stroking his cat, or Dr. Evil, I guess now would be the modern interpretation of that. Just sitting in a chair, stroking your cat, telling him about your cocaine stories of yore.
On that same note, really quickly, sports stuff that's on TV these days. If you aren't watching Winning Time on HBO Max about the Lakers dynasty, also incredible. John C. Reilly as Dr. Buss. The guy should win every award there is to win for awards and acting.
It's actually we've bounced around thinking about watching that. So now that we got that, we'll definitely take a look at that too. Speaking of things in orbit, we've talked about multiple things kind of coming in and out of our little neck of the nape here in the solar system. What we have never really had confirmed, one of these things that have gotten close to us was from interstellar space, not our solar system, way out there, right? Not until we had that ginormous I don't now remember how to say it, but that ginormous like cigar looking thing that kind of came through, right? You remember that at all?
Not really. But
there was this ginormous like it was this long, so it looked like a ginormous like pipe kind of just floating through space, and it shot through the solar system at a weird angle at an incredible speed. And everybody was like, oh God, that could have been an alien probe. And everybody got excited for a little bit and then went back to their Nintendos and their PlayStations. But everybody was like, wow, this didn't originate here. We've never seen this before. It doesn't have like an elliptical orbit. It's literally just kind of shooting through space in a straight line. So we thought that was the first thing from interstellar space that had visited us here on Earth until this last month, when it was a declassified government document that revealed an interstellar object exploded over Earth in 2014.
What?
2014. A fireball that blazed through the sky over Papua New Guinea in 2014 was actually a fast-moving object from another star system, according to a recent memo released by the U.S. Space Command. Snicker, snicker. The object, the small meteorite measuring just 1.5 feet, slammed into Earth's atmosphere on January 8, 2014, after traveling through space at more than 130,000 miles an hour.
Whoa.
A speed that far exceeds the average velocity of meteors that orbit within the solar system, according to a 2019 study of a preprint of the database. So in 2017, they thought they had this, right? The story goes on to tell you that, but they could not confirm this because the data was top secret. But
that's interesting. I wonder why.
A 2019 study argued that the wee meteor speed, along with the trajectory and in orbit, proved it was 99% certain the object had originated far beyond our solar system, possibly from the deep interior of a planetary system or star in the thick disk of the Milky Way galaxy, the authors wrote. But despite their near certainty, the team's paper was never peer-reviewed or published in a scientific journal, as some of the data needed to verify their calculations was considered classified by the United States government. Now, the U.S. Space Command scientists have officially confirmed the team's findings in a memo dated March 1, shared on Twitter on April 6th. Lieutenant General John E. Shaw, Deputy Commander of the United States Space Command, wrote that the 2019 analysis of the fireball was, quote, sufficiently accurate to confirm an interstellar trajectory. The confirmation retroactively makes the 2014 meteor the first interstellar object ever detected in our solar system, the memo added. The object's detection predated the discovery of Oumuamua the now infamous cigar-shaped object that is also moving far too fast to have originated in our solar system by 3 years.
Hmm.
And here's the crazy thing. Think about the
wait, there's more crazy thing?
just right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thank you. Actually, both Ryan and Courtney, your space germs. Think about this, right? We've proven beyond, well, not a shadow of a doubt, but life will survive anywhere, right? Anywhere. It's long thought, even in like on frozen asteroids and comets in space, that it's so cold that microbial and maybe even a larger life could be alive but frozen as it travels, right? There's a whole idea. It's called transpermia, that planets are seeded by these random comets slamming in, and the mixture of nitrogen and hydrogen, water, basically, once it hits the planet's surface, whatever's left kind of starts to become life. There's a whole theory behind this. The idea that something from space, deep space, not even like, wow, you've got United States herpes. You don't have that European herpes, right? And here comes a ginormous European herpes ball that just kind of lands in the United States. And now we've all got what? And as we've all learned, it's pretty interesting because this last year, we've all kind of upped our knowledge on what viruses are, what viruses can do. We're now not necessarily intimately connected and knowledgeable about the micro universe, but for sure a little bit more knowledgeable about it. What even at a 1.5 foot, as wide as my screen is basically right now, with my hand, entered the atmosphere and burnt up and exploded. There are things on that thing that survived, landed. And I posit this: after 2014, the United States, not only United States, the whole damn world got a little bit more nutty, got a little more crazy. It could be social media, it could be Russian influence, it could be this, it could be that, it could be anything.
Or it could be a fucking virus that was dropped upon us from a fucking meteorite from a different solar system.
I'm not saying, but what I am saying is that you can't now discount that, right?
It is, you're right. You space pollen. That's another way to put it. It's a really good way to put it, actually.
Right.
Yeah, you can't discount it. You can't outright discount the idea. You can't say, no, that can't be possible. No way. You can't say it beyond a shadow.
And we don't know what other life forms might take on. There's like nitrogen-based life form. We don't, or something that doesn't like live on things that we would recognize as life. So it could be completely undetected. I'm not trying to start a panic. I'm just saying you got to buy the product that we're going to advertise at the end of the show. No, we don't do that. We don't do that. What we do here is talk about some Russian influence. And when somebody says something so silly, you got to kind of call them out on it. I'm not going to inundate everybody with a bunch of the Ukraine Russian things. I know it's sad. We all know how we feel about it, and we're just kind of
pointed out we've avoided having any Russian bots stop by the show.
Damn, because my dad has a great story about what was for sure a Russian hooker and pimp when he went to Vegas by himself a few years back. And I say that knowing today is my father's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Mr.
So
hold on. I mean, it's not totally, but
happy birthday, Mike, bro.
Dan.
I mean, it's Dan, bro.
If we thought about it and actually had a moment to produce something, maybe we could have. But yeah, today is my dad's birthday. So happy birthday to my dad. I probably should have at the top of the show.
He's not hearing us tell him this.
I was about to say I probably should have done it at the top of the show, but he's not listening, so it doesn't really matter. It is 75th birthday. So wow. 3/4 of a century. My father's been roaming the land here, doing God knows what. But but yeah, so yeah,
what's going on with Ukraine this week?
We're not gonna focus on it, but we will focus on a couple other things that might be adjacent to that. Like when the Russian foreign minister says Russia's war with Ukraine is, quote, meant to put an end to U.S. world domination and NATO expansion. Now, how can I not bite on a headline like that?
It is pretty spicy.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Monday that Russia's unprovoked war with Ukraine was, quote, meant to put an end to U.S.-led global domination and the expansion of NATO, report said. Quote, our special military operation is meant to put an end to the unabashed expansion of NATO and the unabashed drive towards full domination by the U.S. and its Western subjects on the world stage, Lavrov told the state-owned television channel Rossiya 24, according to translation from Russian state media outlet RT. So if I understand this straight, one Russian media, state-run media outlet was doing the translating for another Russia state-owned media. Just give it up. Just make one. If it's Russia one, it should just be one channel.
Yeah, no, I get that. But dude, this is an inevitable backlash for the decades worth of playing world police, right? There was eventually going to be some country that felt that they were powerful enough or had a leader powerful enough to stand up and say, no more of this, no more US playing world police. We don't want it. We don't need it. We don't particularly don't want you being the one telling us what to do. Like, clean up your own shit, then tell us how to clean up our shit and how to run our country. We have been so focused militarily on this idea of not allowing communism to spread under this guise of not allowing communism to spread. We have played this world police that it is not surprising at all that there are numbers of countries that are just fed up with us and are probably in agreement with Russia that and are happy that Russia's the one that's sticking their neck out, so to speak, to be the ones that say, hey, listen, we got to put an end to this. You know, it may not be the most ideal way, and it's not a diplomatic way by any means, but I can understand the sentiment of, let's put an end to this fucking U.S. empire shit. And we're not going to play under this empire anymore.
I mean, obviously there's been some mistakes along the way, right? But by and large, I think there's probably a lot more countries that are a little more grateful for that world police moniker. And for sure, I understand your point of view. For sure, I'm not like saying like you're wrong, because just all you have to do is point to Iraq, and then you could point to Vietnam after, you know, before that. So I get what you're saying, like that the cost of like blood and treasure in what we will look back as like frivolous things, for sure. But you know, man, it at one time, seeing the United States flag coming towards you like really meant something to some people, and gave a real sense of hope, and just life. Sure. Right. And that could be a British flag. You know, again, I'm specifically referencing, you know, my family's history, but I know that like when they saw those flags and those troops coming to help them out and like basically liberate them and save them, their lives and their families' lives, it meant something. Now, do we shit the bed? Yeah, we have a tendency to kind of get drunk and shit the bed,
right?
For sure, right?
There's a time and place, right? World War II was the time and place. The decades since, probably not so much the time and place, but we've been fucking meddling around in people's shit for a long time. And you can imagine just eventually people just put it in a situation of a group of people, right? And the leaders of all these different countries are essentially, they're a group of people, they're a group of friends that have to get along, essentially, right? But you have this one friend who's just always fucking telling everybody what they're supposed to be doing and what they should be doing and how they should be doing it, and you know, trying to be everybody's fucking guru. And you're just like, no, you don't even have your own shit together. Why are you going to tell me how to get my shit together. Like, what? Fuck off. Right. And that's where we're at now in this thing where the other countries are finally at the point where they're like, get your own shit together. Fuck off. And until you get your own shit together, don't come telling me what to do.
This is not that case, right? The situation in Ukraine is not the case. This is purely a vendetta of Vladimir Putin, long dead imperialistic dreams of Mother Russia himself, just slaughtering people. Wait, I haven't talked about what's going on at Mariupol. They're talking at least 10,000 civilians dead. It's a whole different thing because this is a situation where they're asking us for our help, right? There are other countries that are saying we want your help. Again, at one point, I'm not saying our reputation isn't sullied and soiled. And you and I agree on a lot of this stuff. Like one of the
too. There's another side of that coin.
Right. And I think one of the funnier but sad memes I've seen about this whole thing is there's like a picture of like an aircraft carrier or something, just like fighter jets all on the deck ready to go, right? And it says Vladimir Putin's about to find out why America doesn't have free healthcare.
Right.
And sad but true, right? Because I honestly think like the best way to show somebody that our way is better is to show them like we've got our shit together.
Right.
Like and what like American will and empire do we have? Like what are we going to point to? Like,
right.
Like our education system is
nope.
Our utilities and energy
our incarceration rate.
Yeah, we still have a systemic racism. Yeah, we do. Like, yeah, so obviously we're not but compared to what goes on in some other places, just because ours isn't perfect doesn't mean it's the worst, I guess. Right. And it again, at some point there has to be somebody willing to stand up to another bully.
Yeah.
And have we been to bully before? Absolutely. Again, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Vietnam, and you might say Korea too, because those are all kind of proxy wars after World War II. Just we are itching to get in there and fight communism now, right?
True. Now Ryan in the comments makes an interesting point. It reminds me of what happened with Germany after World War I. Sanctions and land given up, and then World War II happens. And now it's Russia after the Cold War, sanctions and land given up. Then they get emboldened enough to feel like they have a leader, right, that is emboldened enough and becomes powerful enough to say, "This is our land. We didn't agree to give this up. We were kind of forced to give it up, and now we want it back." There are some parallels there. There are some definite parallels.
In so much as that if Mexico wanted to come and claim the greater part of Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona because that was forcibly taken from them,
right?
How the Native Americans should just be like, get the fuck out.
Like, if the Native Americans were to rise up, right, they can essentially lay claim the same way,
right? If they had, if they were able to leverage all the turquoise they had as a weapon. That's really bad. I'm sorry. That's really poor taste. But the point, right, is that you had people that were robbed of their rightful land and forcibly either assimilated or destroyed. That's basically what it boiled down to, right? Well, that's what's going on in Ukraine, and that's what Soviet Russia had done to all of those smaller countries in Chechnya and Georgia and Moldova. Ukraine, and they tried doing it in Poland and Czech Republic and Slovakia. So I understand what you're saying. There are no good guys sitting at the table here, right? Nobody's a good guy. It's just degrees of bad guys, and at least like at this one, on this one, It seems to be that we're in the right. Now, this all could be, hey, you want to take a really crazy deep dive? This could all be a New World Order plot to instill Volodymyr Zelensky as the head of a New World Order that is going to dominate the planet, and Vladimir Putin knows about it, and he's the last one to try to snuff out this new regime that's going to come and give everybody a serial number and the mark of the beast, and give us all like credit
World
cards.
elite. Yes.
They're gonna get rid of paper money, and then they're gonna come out and say the world really is flat, stupid motherfuckers, and we didn't land a moon. Birds aren't real. We've been lying this whole time.
Mm-hmm. They're all cameras.
That's
Birds
what we're
aren't-
fighting. That's what we're fighting here. Yeah. So yeah, the world domination of the United States isn't going so great.
Nah.
So it doesn't really serve as a good context to invade and try to systemically wipe out another people, especially ones that have been basically your brothers and sisters. I know I'm all riled up over here. It's just GG juice.
Indeed.
So let's talk about the power of a media show. Let's talk about the power of an idea. Let's talk about John Oliver blackmailing Congress with their own digital data.
Whoa.
Have you heard
I
about
love
this?
this guy a lot. I don't
This
watch
is-
as much as I should, but he's good.
It's insane how good he is and how he's taken that Daily Show concept and made it like basically 60 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Each story has time to breathe. It's actually well done, well researched, but still has that comedic edge. I like it. In the last show, his main segment concerned what they call data brokers, companies that collect your digital data, package it, and sell it to anyone who's interested, sometimes in bundles based on shared characteristics. Real names of these bundles include ambitious singles, couples with clout, kids, and Cabernet. Oliver pointed out that the names also sound like immediately greenlit shows on TLC, which is actually pretty funny. The thing is, brokers group people, and this is from Rolling Stone, by the way. The thing is, brokers group people in far less fanciful ways, according to their medical ailments, for instance, or as suffering seniors and help needed. I am 90 days behind with bills. Last year, a company called Epsilon, one of these ghoulish companies, was forced to pay $150 million in penalties because they knowingly sold the data of 30 million people to scammers targeting seniors. The article goes on. Now, there's nothing particularly new about this. Several news clips of Oliver showed were 8 to 10 years old, an unsettling example of a stalker finding and killing a woman after paying a broker $45 for her data was 20 years old. So why was Oliver devoting a whole show to it now? It's because he and his staff paid for the data of a subset of individuals with traits that a lot of congressmen have and who were online within 5 miles of the Capitol building. Though Oliver was cagey about what they found, he indicated that they were able to identify several specific lawmakers and their potentially problematic search histories, but he didn't reveal anything more than that. Instead, he indicated that his preferred solution was for lawmakers to pass laws making the release of that kind of personal information illegal. In the meantime, Oliver had some advice for anyone on Capitol Hill worried about what he might do with their personal data. Quote, "You might want to channel that worry into making sure I can't do anything. Sleep well."
That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. Like he's done like all kinds of interesting shit like that, but this is a whole new level of like activism. Right? It's talk about using your platform. Right? Because you can guarantee he has those people's attention. They'll no sell him publicly, but he has those people's attention.
It might be a fool's bet to bet against that some authorities aren't knocking on his door or like his studio door asking about that too, just because people made phone calls and now the Secret Service has to.
He has to be on some level fearful.
I think about who you could have dirt on, right?
I mean, that is a major shot across the bow, for lack of a better term, right? He is really sticking out there and saying, I've got something, and I want you to do something to stop me. And if you don't, well, I have to then release this information. And you can imagine the Mitch McConnells of the world and the Matt Gateses,
Lindsey Graham,
Lindsey Grahams,
people
on
that
both
might have
sides, you know?
something to hide. Sure, Tulsi and Nancy Pelosi. Well, I'm not. There are. You would, if you're a long time listener or short time listener of the show, you know that we don't like fall. We have our leanings, but you certainly couldn't put us into a political category. We're just we're kind of out there, just kind of thinking free. But if we, yeah, but for sure, could you imagine like that? You know, we found out a ton about how Lindsey Graham just adores little boys' shoes. Like, just that's the kind of stuff we might be talking about, though, right? Like,
oh yes, you know that's fucking, and they know that information. How many people on the Oliver Show know that information? Right? They know that, they've seen it. They go home at night going, they see these people on television going, I know about you, motherfucker. I know about you. I know what you're fucking searching for.
it's public knowledge, right? As far as the laws go,
right? Yeah.
So, and this is part of the problem with Facebook. And if you ever wondered why Facebook selling your data is a problem, because here you are, think about what are some of those categories? Help me, I'm 90 days late on my bills. So if you're a scammer and you swoop in with a quick phone call or whatever, reach out and say you got 100,000 addresses or contact numbers, right? And you come out with some bullshit story of like quick, like if you give me $5,000 now, I can turn that into $30,000 to pay off your debts. You'll be free, blah, blah, blah. Just sign here. Here's how it works, blah, 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 blah. You know how these scam goes, right? If you bought 100,000 contacts and 3 of them paid off, what did you do? I don't know how much you paid for that, but all you did is type an email and just put it on a mass thing. Just there it goes. Somebody bit. Yeah. Now you've got all their stuff. Preying on seniors.
They're preying on seniors, right? Like, and it sucks because like how can you be so stupid? But like at the same time, it happens, right? They're old. Like,
that was part of what Project Veritas was doing and Cambridge Analytica was doing. Not to the sick and vulnerable. Well, vulnerable in a way, but they were doing it to the right and left leaning too. They were finding out very specific groups and going in and either creating similar groups or infiltrating and posting inflammatory, divisive things and furthering the fuel there. That's what we're talking about with like the information wars. That's how valuable this data is. They're tracking all the little things that you click on and might have a fleeting interest in. People buying that stuff and then knowing how to target you with those ads. That they know you take albuterol inhaler because of your asthma. So now they're going to tag you in a whole bunch of things. It's a very, very sick and twisted thing that your information is not protected. And thank you very much, Mr. Oliver, for basically being what they used to call the fourth branch of government, journalism.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love the idea of media activism like this and using it for power of good.
Well, all right, let's talk about media and the power of good. Now, let's talk about, we talked last week about how Elon Musk bought his way into Twitter, right? And was going to be anointed on the board of directors. It was announced that just on April 9th, the day he was supposed to take one of the seats on the board of directors, that he would, quote, no longer be joining the board, end quote. And that was a quote from the Twitter CEO, Parag Agrawal. Pretty interesting, right?
Yeah, it is interesting because you would think that was the power play all along, right? That was the reason for this whole thing, was to get himself in that position. That's what we speculated on last week. Right?
Was that, yeah, we talked about, we also mentioned the fiduciary responsibility of somebody like trash talking a platform for a couple of weeks, depressing the value and buying in. I
still can't believe we are a week later and nobody is talking about it. You can't find a media source that is talking about how and why did Elon Musk how was he able to get away with this? It was such clear market manipulation. And the kicker is, this came out in the last week. He's supposed to file a form with I believe it's the SEC. If you're going to buy more than 5% of a company's stock, you have to file a form with the SEC letting them know that you intend to do this before you do it. He waited 11 days to file that form. Meanwhile, was buying the stock for $30 or whatever it was, the suppressed price. He was continuing to accumulate for those 11 days until he had to, because that's what broke the news, is that he filed that form with the SEC, and the SEC makes it public that Elon Musk has, or whoever has bought more than 5% of a particular company's stocks. He made $157 million on the stocks that he bought in that 11 days. No one cares. Nobody cares, apparently. If he gets away with this, I saw on the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, they had a guy on, and their angle on this was, this is the new wave of activism. This, instead of boycotting, this is what we want. This is the future of activism. Billionaires on our side, they'll just buy the stock of the company to get control, and then control the company from within under their conservative ideals, because there are more conservative billionaires than there are liberal billionaires. Surprise, surprise.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. So their angle on this is the new wave. But just like we were talking about with John Oliver, they're talking about it the same way with Elon Musk, that this is the new way. This is, rather than boycott, we'll get a billionaire to buy up all the stock and get them and influence that person to do what we want. It's incredible.
So two possible ideas here. I want to read part of the official Twitter announcement regarding this. This is from the second paragraph of their announcement. We announced on Tuesday that Elon would be appointed to the board of contingent on a background check and formal acceptance. Elon's appointment to the board was to become official effective 4/9, but Elon shared that same morning that he will no longer be joining the board. The thing I like about it is that he was scared to pass a background check.
That is what you could read into that. That is certainly what you could read into that.
Or he got tipped off that the SEC is actually going to open, or already has opened, an investigation to him. And his attorneys were like, and maybe the attorneys from Twitter were like, look, we can't have you on the board with a pending investigation for your shady ass shit.
What is incredible to me is that Elon Musk is not trading his stock on fucking Robinhood, right? Or Webull. You know what I mean? Like he's not like going to his phone and buying Twitter stock. That's not how Elon Musk does it. He has a broker. So what's crazy to me is it's not just him that's in on this, right? If this is in one way or another, like either this is illegal and his broker's in on it and they didn't give him good advice, whatever the case may be, or the scariest result is this is allowed to happen. If the SEC does nothing and they say, it's social media. He just used his influence on social media. But the thing that gets me is that 11-day thing. That's where he fucked up. He purposely didn't turn in that form and continue to buy the stock, knowing that the minute that it becomes public that he has bought that much stock of the company, the stock price is going to shoot up. And to wait that 11 days purposefully, he'll say it wasn't purposeful, right? It was a filing mistake. We meant to send it in, but the secretary forgot to fucking hit send on the email, whatever the fucking case it would be. He surely got a million fucking excuses for it. But it can't be allowed to stand. And I've got to believe it's that rather than the background check thing, although the background check thing is equally plausible.
It's hilarious. Although I think, given his status in the world, somebody would have kind of probably already if there was something there, you would think it would probably have come out.
Right.
And
Yeah. Elon Musk has had to have been the target of many anonymous type attacks and infiltrations. Surely.
I mean, could anything be worse that his whole family fortune is based off of blood emeralds
Yeah.
from apartheid?
He didn't create Tesla. Right? There's this misconception that like Elon Musk was this genius that created this company called Tesla. And that's not how it went down. He did kind of a very similar thing that he did with Twitter, where he just bought up all the stock of this company and became the owner off of his emerald mine fortune, by the way.
He was in with that Peter Thiel with PayPal too.
Yeah,
he got a windfall from PayPal.
Yes, and PayPal, correct. He had some other investments that really went well. He used that money to then buy Tesla, and has completely like bamboozled the world into believing he created Tesla, when it's not the case at all. He's not in any way a self-made person at all. In any way, shape, or human form is he self-made. He's bought and purchased everything that he's ever, collected. It's all because he, his family had money to begin.
It absolutely, unfortunately, is. So we're just going to move on from that and kind of keep a track on good old Elon. We're going to keep technology in mind here before we get to something a little more natural. There has been, do you know about these AirTag things? Am I an old man here?
I know of them. I know what they are, but I don't know anything more than that.
It's like fucking Batman, like tracking devices. Like these little things that you can throw on or something, and you can
like your keys and shit, right?
Well, apparently not, because this is, it's bad when Vice is shitting on anything to do with men. Police records show women are being stalked with Apple AirTags across the country.
Holy shit.
1 year ago, Apple unveiled the AirTag, a shiny $50 size coin with a speaker, Bluetooth antenna, and a battery inside, which helps users keep track of their missing items. Attach an AirTag to your purse, keys, wallet, or even your car. If you lose your car, the device will ping you every Apple product you have with the Bluetooth turned on to triangulate. Listen to this. The device will ping every nearby Apple product with Bluetooth turned on to triangulate that location. The entire Apple network.
Not your Bluetooth turned on. No, anybody's Bluetooth Apple product that is in the area. Yeah.
Police records reviewed by Motherboard show that, as security experts immediately predicted when the product launched, this technology has been used to stalk and harass women. Over 150 total police reports mentioning AirTags. In 50 cases, women called the police because they started getting notifications that their whereabouts were being tracked by an AirTag they did not own. Of those 50, 25 could identify a man in their lives, ex-partners, husbands, bosses, who they strongly suspected planting the AirTags on their cars in order to follow and harass them.
Men are fucking horrible creatures.
We're the worst.
Absolute worst.
The worst. Those women reported that the current and former intimate partners are the most likely people to harm women overall and are using AirTags to stalk and harass them.
Holy fuck. Like, Apple's got to do something about this, right?
We got to stop this bullshit of like tagging technology. You can't have this kind of tracking device. And now, unfortunately, the cat's out of the bag because, oh, fuck. This is Apple's entire network. Maybe some other company might not have access to some powerful network at that point, right? But this is like at the end of the Dark Knight, where Batman uses everybody's cell phone data to locate the Joker, and he's like, I have to do it, Lucius. And like but Lucius is like, I want no part of this. Like, this is this kind of thing.
Yeah,
this kind of like abuse of technology, albeit for what was supposed to be a good thing, but could easily be used, and it now currently is.
That men, like just fucking creepy assholes, could take this product that was just meant so you could not lose your goddamn keys or your purse or your fucking wallet or whatever. It didn't even take a fucking month, surely, before someone was like, some asshole ex fucking boyfriend was like, I want to know what Susie's doing now. And I'm gonna, and then he fucking puts one in her fucking car when she's not looking. And now he's following her around, and then eventually he fucking kills her.
That's it.
The fuck?
That's what it literally, most of these reports mentioned how they were scared for their lives, or at least their safety and well-being.
Of course. We can't have anything nice because of fucking men. Shithead men ruin everything.
Absolutely. We've talked about we've talked about that we're broken. We've talked about the toxic masculinity and how we truly don't know what it's like to be a man based on emotional needs and communication and that sort of thing. And blessed are those that do, for sure. But for the most part, it's been kind of like a rotten message that's not really become programming. And we're kind of stuck in this until I don't know, Ben. Would you say that there's something out there in nature that you might be able to take that kind of shatters that false reality and that might be fostered upon you?
Yes, I know one thing for sure. It's natural. Grows fungus.
Well, a fungus. Okay. And it grows. That's pretty cool. Let me you like big mushrooms, right?
I like all mushrooms.
Okay. All right. So when you go to the store, do you ever sit there and go, well, hot damn, that's a big portobello?
There is those the white one. Yeah, the big portobellos, the big brown ones, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It cooked right can taste just like a steak. I'm
very
just
good. I when you go, yes, can replace a protein quite easily.
What if I told you there was one mushroom, one fungus that was not only the largest living species on the planet, but also quite possibly the oldest organism on the planet?
Okay.
Now, this living fungi would be found in Oregon's Mulhere National Forest. It is the largest known organism in the world. It covers 3.4 square miles and is estimated to be 2,500 years old. That's right, folks. It's one mushroom, one fungus, not necessarily one big cap, right? But it's the same genus, the same family, one mushroom, 3.4 square miles, 2,500 years old.
Wait a
Hot
minute.
damn.
One, I'm not sure I'm wrapping my head around this entirely. One fungus, one mushroom
Grew to that.
It's
Now it'd be like
it spawned. It kept
right
respawning to the point where
and one one little guy became that. That'd be like you putting one little fungus down and then 2,500 years later coming back and going, oh, you spread everywhere. Look at you.
God.
It is pretty nuts, to say the least. But since we're sitting here talking about mushrooms, and mushrooms are not only a fan of the show, but the show is a fan of mushrooms.
Yes, which, by the way, we should do one night.
Then make it a Saturday night special.
Yeah.
Here's a story that was published, and this concerns psilocybin. Yeah, the magic in magic mushrooms, and that it may relieve depression through, quote, disintegration of entrenched brain networks. This is a study that was published in Nature Medicine. So this is an official study, actually a study of two different studies that they didn't know they were existing, but there were two different studies done, and what they call an open label study and one that's called a randomized clinical trial study. But they were doing the same thing. They were using psilocybin to treat what they call treatment-resistant depression. So there are several things that these patients have to qualify for. One of them obviously having to be resistant and never responded to multiple antidepressant treatments. And this is the holy grail for depression and mental illness, right? Trying to find something else other than these SSRIs and other pharmaceuticals to try to treat these things, right? So these two different studies go on virtually side by side without knowing each other, and they publish the results. And really, there's nothing that's kind of magic mushrooms work. Okay, so that's what the study basically told us, but nobody said how do they work. What do they do?
Right.
That
Like
makes
what is it? Yeah, exactly.
because the results are astounding.
Yeah, the results are there. You can definitely, but it's the physical, like what is physically actually happening. Yeah.
So they went back and looked at all of the imaging. So they did the functional MRIs, right? They watched the brain while it was doing brain things and watched gave the person commands. And over time, I guess they did, they'll give you like a baseline. So they did an MRI scan without the psilocybin, and they came back and did subsequent scans to kind of see what was going on. And what they noticed, and this is crude, but what they noticed is that the psilocybin basically, part of depression, right? We should backtrack. Part of depression is this rote level of thinking, right? Is this memorized pattern of thought that is not healthy, right? And this particular part of it, the physiology of a brain is not new, in that your brain will hardwire these thought patterns to itself. As long as you're thinking about these things over and over again, your brain will physically change and hardwire these thought patterns. Your electrons fire in certain directions that cause these thoughts. And what was once like just a thought becomes more of an attitude or an overall health state, almost, basically. What they're finding is the psilocybin mushrooms destroy those pathways and force the brain to kind of rewire itself, which is what we thought all along it did. But now they're showing physical evidence that psilocybin can break these patterns of brain activity.
Incredible. I'm telling you, I've been on. If you follow me on social media, I've been telling you there are companies right now that you can go and invest in. And while you were reading this story, I went to check what the prices are on some of these companies, and for very cheap. Right now, you can buy one stock of Mind Medicine for 99 cents. You can buy a one stock of Cybin for 74 cents. Field Trip Health, $1.39. Compass Pathways, which is a little bit more expensive, at $12.53 a share. Those are the four probably biggest companies when it comes to actively doing psilocybin research. Mind Medicine is the one that I'm particularly most fond of. I'm telling you, we will see in our lifetimes what you see for like testosterone replacement therapy, where you can go to the corner place and there's a shop in the shopping mall. You can go in and get your testosterone replacement therapy, right? They're going to have the same thing. This Mind Medicine is basically creating the same thing, but for mental health care, where you would basically book an appointment. You'd go in with professionals that would know what they were doing. They would administer this as a therapy over, one or two or three times, whatever's necessary for you to, break whatever habit it is that you have or whatever issue it is that you have. I'm telling you, there's an opportunity for a very little amount of money. For what would it hurt to spend $100 on 100 shares of Mind Medicine if it gets federally decriminalized and the FDA approves it as a real therapy,
Like a clinical therapy.
It's going to explode, because if it's effective, it's going to explode. We're talking about not only being able to cure things like depression like this, but there are also studies that show, and they believe that there are molecules that can cure drug addiction. Think about that, where you no longer have to fight that daily battle of, no, you're cured of it. They feel like they have studies and they're trying to get this molecule pushed through that they believe will cure drug addiction. what would a molecule be worth if it cured drug addiction?
Oh, like what Courtney says, when dudes care less about their libido and more about their mental health, maybe less women will have air tags in their cars.
Right? Yeah. They're tying everything together. Right? We're all one. Society is all one big symbiotic thing. And butterfly affects everything. Everything affects everything. So
Ryan Hansen beat me to the punch and stole my thunder.
Yeah.
But just think about legalized pot and where that would have landed in your calculus of society 10 years ago. In 2012, the glorious years of what was that? Still Bush? Yeah, no, 2010. That was Obama. Imagine that dude legalizing pot. Like just like federal, like people lost their shit, but now look at it and it's almost like
close. We're getting very close to federally decriminalizing marijuana. And that's going to happen sooner than psilocybin, but psilocybin is not far behind. I really believe that because it's a natural plant. It's something natural. It's not something that can be manipulated. Really, there's really not much you can do to manipulate a psilocybin mushroom. It is what it is. A fungus is a fungus is a fungus, and it's a natural thing. It's not created in a lab, so to speak. Although they are kind of created in a lab now.
A little bit, or under a sink, cabin underneath the sink in a box. Because that's about it. That's all it takes, really. Just some good soil
in a spare closet somewhere.
That's as simple as it can get. If you're interested, that story was on technologynetworks.com from today, April 11th, 2022. And Mr. Hansen, well, you did steal my thunder. I know there's one thing that you can't steal.
No.
And I know it's why y'all came here. It's number one podcast segment in America that Dan Brooks still doesn't pay attention or watch. It's the lightning round here on Topic Thunder, where we give you 3 stories that enter the Thunderdome. One story makes it out alive of the world's most dangerous chat room that votes on all the stories. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We let you vote on the story that gets read, and we have a hoot and a holler while doing it. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I see the lovely lightning bolts being thrown up in the chat room, I'm going to read the headlines. No more dilly-dally. This is from the Times of India. Stolen a 500-ton steel bridge.
Okay.
I think I've got a thing for stolen bridges. Headline number 2. An axe-wielding man attacks drummer in Canyon County Park.
Whoa. Okay. There's a lot of layers to that.
Headline number 3. Southwest passenger arrested for masturbating 4 times during a flight.
Oh, come on. See, how does the masturbating guy not win?
I don't know.
Odd curiosity with masturbation.
And stolen bridges. It's just what we do here.
How does a stolen bridge beat a guy masturbating on an airplane, though, Brooks?
That beats an axe-wielding man attacking a drummer in a park.
It barely beats that. Barely. I think. Bridge bandit, drum roll, serial beater.
Serial beater. One more time while everybody's kind of doing their thing at home and figuring out what story you want to hear. We'll go over those headlines one more time. Headline number 1. Stolen a 500-ton steel bridge. Headline number 2. Axe-wielding man attacks drummer in Canyon Park. And headline number 3. Southwest passenger arrested for masturbating 4 times during a flight. Must have been a long flight.
Already a couple of votes. Ma Jordan coming in with a vote for number 3. Ryan Hansen voting for number 3 as well. That seems, Gigi with the number 3 as well. I think number 3 is going to run away with this thing. The other 2 are not bad. On any other given week, they could win. But when you have a guy chronically masturbating on an airplane, we all want to know what the fuck's going on with that. Right? How are you not arrested after the first time?
You got to land, and I'm sure nobody's rushing in to get their hands on it.
So Biz has got 2 votes for number 3 there too. 3 is running away with.
All right, cool. I think we'll just do number 3 then, right? This is
went in with a vote for number 1 just to be a contrarian. I love it.
you know what? I like a good stolen bridge story too, because 4 times, I think 4 times, woo, 4 times, woo. It would be like passenger Richard Flair from Minneapolis. Now, this is actually from Fox 5 out of Washington, D.C. A man on a Southwest Airlines flight faces federal charges after allegedly masturbating at least 4 times during the flight. The Daily Beast reports it happens on a flight from Seattle to Phoenix. That should be enough time. Oh, wait, I don't know.
Seattle to Phoenix is not that long. Like,
Let's get somebody find out how long a flight from Seattle to Phoenix would be while I read the rest of this, and I'll tell you how many times I might be able to.
That sounds painful. Like, your dick's gotta hurt.
Yeah, that's. I mean, yeah, and
A lot of abuse that you're putting on your dick.
I need to know more. Like, where was he? All right, so hold on. The criminal complaint obtained by the site claimed it happened on a Southwest flight 3814 on April 2nd of this year. Antonio Sherrod McGarity. Antonio Sherrod McGarity would pick a lane. That's all I'm asking. Is accused of masturbating 4 times in the seat next to a female passenger. Okay, we got action.
Men are horrible.
Terrible. The woman took photos. When McGarity fell asleep, she told flight crew what happened. They moved her to another seat on the flight. Woman turned the photos over to Phoenix police when the flight landed. The FBI interviewed him. Excuse me, are you Antonio Sherrod McGarity? Yes. We need to talk to you. We're from the FBI. Could you please sit down? Mr. McGarity.
Yeah.
You want a flight? Could you tell us about you whacking your willy? The FBI interviewed him and says he didn't think the female passenger was uncomfortable with him masturbating, and he thought it was kind of kinky. McGarity is facing charges related to lewd, indecent, or obscene acts. That's it. I guess they're felony charges, so I guess that's bad. But that just seems like that's like assault at that point. That once maybe you're trying to fall asleep and you're it's a red eye. We didn't get the flight times. Twice, okay. This is weird. 3 times, what the fuck? And 4 times now, yeah, you're taking pictures and you're pressing the call light.
Why are men so fucking awful? They fuck it up for all of us. These fucking groups. This is more reasons why prostitution should be legal. There'll be less dudes doing this shit.
I was listening to another podcast, Jason Goff's podcast, the Full Go, and I didn't know this, but the White Sox, I forget his name right now, the White Sox backup catcher, apparently got popped while in spring training for pulling over into a strip mall parking lot and having himself in the truck in the parking lot. So the White Sox have got that going for them too. But yeah, I don't know if decriminalizing sex workers kind of clears all of this up.
But it needs to be done regardless. Like, it's just sex work is real work.
Oh, for sure. You're gonna earn it. Oh no, I don't want to say that. I'm just loose on the lips here today. We should probably say it's probably time to say goodnight, sweetheart. To a good old Brooks.
It would definitely help for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm not saying to not do it because it's far time that prostitution was legal. All of the vices and sins in the world should be legal because I want to usher and herald in a new age of all hail Satan.
I want to not have to be able. I don't want to have to drive to Oklahoma to go to a casino. That's what I want.
Gambling, you should have like the I know there's some Red Cross initiatives to have like a safe place to inject, that sort of thing. They'll let you hang out if you have to have your heroin fixed. So stuff like that, just acknowledging and getting help to the people that need the help, not criminalizing them. But we talk about these things here, and we really appreciate your conversation. You're part of it too. It's the best part of the show, ladies and gentlemen, the world's most dangerous chat room here on Topic Thunder. We appreciate you paying attention and participating from the USS Rapapa. We have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Solemn and dignified Ramadan for those also celebrating.